I got up this morning and I turn on Fox, and they're all there. I mean, Roger Ailes, I thought he was a smart man, but God forbid if some death ray happens and everybody is vaporized in Washington. I think I'm the only Fox person that's not in Washington. So that would mean like I would be the only one left. That's not smart planning there, Roger. But beyond that, everybody was down in Washington. And they've got Bob Beckel on, who is a partisan Democrat kind of guy. And on a day when Barack Obama is saying that we all need to come together, and on a day when I believe that conservatives, decent Americans, I'm not talking about, like I said on the TV show last night, the 15% on either side that only cares about the donkey or elephant. They don't care about principles. They only care about parties. There's only about 15% of America on each side that's like that. The rest of us, we care about principles. And on a day when it's really difficult for some of us to come together, to have somebody like Bob Beckel get on and say, well, I'll tell you what won't be happening today. More of that Bush economic policy and his failed policy. And that was the first thing I heard this morning. And I thought, how dare you? How dare you? Especially on a day when Barack Obama is continuing many of the policies. That's his new position, that many of the Bush policies he's going to continue. Well, does anybody have enough honor to say, you know what, I was wrong about what I said about this policy? So that's how I started. And I know it's Bob Beckel, and so I don't expect very much, but fine. But then I'm watching all of these people gather in, and remember, gang, this is me being flawed. This is not, I'm not holding this up. I'm telling you this because there's an end to this story. Then I see all these people that are gathering. And it's not a gathering of a celebration of democracy. It's a celebration of a man. I am only reason why blood's not shooting out of my eyes at the cost of this is because it's good for America to come together and celebrate that we've made it this far. Look at the progress. Just a handful of decades ago, a man stood at the stairs of the Lincoln Memorial and said, I have a dream. And here, part of that dream is fulfilled, that you can be judged on the content of your character, not the color of your skin. It doesn't matter. It's important that we celebrate. This should be the last time we spend this kind of money. Ever. But that's a discussion we can have tomorrow. Today, it's important. But all of these people that are gathering, that are now pledging to each other that they're going to be happier, et cetera, where were you in the last 8 years? The people who are lecturing me now that I need to pull together, where were you when we were begging you? Please, where were you when Obama now is not going to pull the troops out of Iraq right away? It would be irresponsible. George Bush won the war in Iraq despite the overwhelming odds, and not the odds on the ground in Iraq alone. The overwhelming odds against him in our own capital, in places like Hollywood, California. He did it in spite of people ripping him apart. So don't lecture me on be happy, come together. Don't lecture me on that. I'm doing it, but I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. Not because it's popular, not because it's easy, not because you tell me to, but because it's the right thing to do. And it is very, very difficult. But it is the right thing to do. Last night I went to bed and that's why I had Sarah Palin on. I'm getting heat for having Sarah Palin on and not asking her the tough questions. I didn't want to ask her the tough questions. I wanted to ask her, is he your president today? Yes. Not because that's the question I wanted to ask Sarah Palin, but because I thought that was the important question. Not that it would be the one that would get me the highest ratings, but that it was the right thing to do. So please don't lecture me. This morning I get into the car and I'm driving down Fifth Avenue and I look at a store that has a sign that says, "Yes, we can. Congratulations, President Obama." Fine. But do you remember how many people called this program and said, I have a sign up and people are coming in and calling me a hate monger or a racist or a baby killer or a warmonger? It is the arrogance of the other side that we're just right. You can say whatever you want. They're fearless. And we have cowered in fear because we don't want to offend. We don't stand up for ourselves because we don't want to offend. And that is the right thing. That is Judeo-Christian values. That when they slap one cheek, you give them the other cheek. Not because it's the easy thing to do or the thing you want to do, but because it's the right thing to do. A fact that Obama is wrapping himself in Abraham Lincoln. You couldn't use a picture taken on September 11th, not of the World Trade Centers, just a picture that was taken on a plane of President Bush because it was obscene to use that. Oh, I'm not even going to wear a flag lapel pin because that flag lapel pin, well, you're just wrapping yourself in the flag. You're not wrapping yourself in the flag. You are making a monument out of a man. You are wrapping Abraham Lincoln around a man. Not Abraham the man, but the monument, the face chiseled in the side of a mountain. Not the man as he was, a simple guy who just came to do the right thing and the hard thing. No. Barack Obama is assuming the mantle of the monument. And because I know our founders, I'm angry. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there is a statue, just an absolutely beautiful statue of George Washington that was carved to sit in the rotunda of the Capitol. I don't know if it actually ever sat in the Capitol. It may have sat for a couple of years, but it was deemed grotesque because of the way George Washington felt. This beautiful statue horribly, horribly disfigures our history because it makes George Washington into a Greek god. He's wearing a toga and he's strong and well built. He looks like a Greek god. It sat in the basement of the Capitol building in a box for decades. It's now in a museum. It's in a museum marked as the monument that never was, even though it was done and built and they spent money on it and some artist toiled at this beautiful statue. It was wrong. He's not a god. He was a man. There's a reason why the Washington Memorial is just an obelisk. It's because he didn't want statues of him. You can put a marker that I was here, but nothing more.